patient with ignorances about ADHD. Now, I'm saying that because in my most recent videos about ADHD, I've been talking about appointments and some tips or ideas for when you go for your ADHD review appointments and such, or when you go to speak to doctors to do with anything with your diagnosis. But here's the thing, a lot of people still carry misconceptions about ADHD or don't understand the diagnosis as a whole or the condition as a whole. And so you can't expect them to know things that you know or to understand how you feel about certain situations or how it affects you in your daily life. That isn't just true of everyday people. So people you might come across in the street or people at work or people at school or wherever you go, but also of doctors as well, because it is still being researched, it's still being understood. And a lot of the time there's more facts and symptoms and characteristics popping up that hadn't been talked about before. It's the same as how, there are certain symptoms with ADHD that everybody knows about, people with ADHD and people who don't, or anyone in general who's looked at the diagnosis go, oh yeah, this is common for people with ADHD. For example, attention and hyperactivity, because it's even in the name. But there are a lot of aspects of ADHD that aren't noticed, that aren't widely understood, or lots of people aren't aware of, even doctors. Things like eating and drinking, like I've spoken about before, or memory and forgetfulness. Now, something that I went through recently was I attended a meeting to do with ADHD for adults. It was just supposed to be a very non-formal sort of social situation where two doctors would be in the room trying to go through like a PowerPoint of ADHD symptoms, characteristics, so then they can kind of tell the room at large, which was a room full of adults with ADHD, most of which had recent diagnoses, facts about the condition so they could better understand themselves and the condition as a whole. And it was just supposed to be a way of giving them a bit of information about themselves. They don't feel out of place. They don't wonder, why is it I'm like this and other people aren't. It was very positive as an experience. My brother and I went, even though we had our diagnosis when we were children, because it turned out we were eligible for it, but we hadn't known. So they were like, oh well, we'll give you the invite anyway. So we turned up, it was great, like I said, very positive experience, very non-formal, kind of funny at times. I liked the people who were there, both the two women, the two doctors who were there, as well as the other people in the room who had ADHD and recent diagnoses. But there were a lot of aspects to do with ADHD, lots of personal experience that were brought up, personal views or reactions that we were relaying to the two doctors that they hadn't processed or hadn't even thought about or considered would be part of having ADHD. So they decided to have a look into that. And every session when they came back, they had a look, they'd researched, they'd basically expand their own knowledge. Essentially, if you're patient with people when they're ignorant about ADHD, because a lot of the time it's not malicious, it's not intended to be offensive or anything, sometimes they just don't know. People with ADHD themselves don't know off the bat what it means or what it's like or the different aspects that associated with it, different characteristics that are part of having it, or symptoms or difficulties. A lot of the time, people in general just don't know. And so the big important thing is be patient and just talk about it, allow them to expand their understanding of the condition and allow yourself to advocate for yourself, I find that a lot of the time it's not helpful just to straight off the back get offended. A lot of the time instinctually when someone is ignorant on purpose or when they selectively don't want to understand, they just want to feel like they're right about something, in which case I find that uncalled for. But at the same time, it's very easy to get that sense from someone than someone who just doesn't know any better. And when it comes to people like that, they're the people who are open to understanding more. That's where it's most important to talk about it and to tell them how you feel or what you think or what it's like for you in your daily life. And that's part of raising awareness as a whole. So now I know that's technically not to do with appointments with doctors in a way, but it kind of is as well. Because like I said, it's not just everyday people, it's also doctors. So when you go for reviews and they make assumptions or assumptions is the best word, when they make assumptions about things that you're going through or things that will help you, don't be afraid to tell them otherwise, okay? Don't make the assumption, well, they're a doctor, they must know better than me. Tell them how you're feeling in your everyday life. Tell them why you think some of their advice might not work for you, and explain it. For instance, medication. Medication for me typically isn't a good idea, the tablets and such, and now I'm changing finally to a more liquid form or a very easily dissolved form because I have a phobia of tablets. But for a long time I didn't even know that was an option, and it only became an option after I spoke about it, and I was like, oh, okay. It's little things like that that then can really, really help you in the long run when it comes to any support that you need, or any advice you need, or any information that would just in general be helpful for you to have in your daily life. So anyway, I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Any thoughts or opinions you have on the subject, please put it in the comment section. Otherwise, request future videos, questions if you have any for me. I'm more than happy to answer all of them, even if it is literally something like, what's your favorite food, what's your favorite color? I will literally do a video on that. Anyway, besides that, if you liked the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're interested, and otherwise repost the video. As I said, good for raising awareness, good for my channel on a personal note, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So aside from that, hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye!